All right, guys, today we've got some kind of more maintenance type durability upgrades. We've got the Fleece Transmission 5/8 high temp lines for the transmission to the transcooler. They are up to 135 C, so pretty warm, way more than we need for this. Max PSI on them is 350. And they're all AN fittings. They're all black, so I like whenever as the dirt accumulates and stuff, the black will hide a little bit nicer than fancy stainless steel ones will. And then I also, while these are doing this, I ordered a transcooler from XDP. So this is the XDP intercooler. Comes with some mounting hardware, but otherwise it's just this. These come with this, so you should be able to reuse the original ones if you're going just doing the cooler by itself. But this thing comes with I must have it on the other. Oh, here they are. So when you order the lines, they let you pick what year truck you have, but they send you pretty much anything and everything that it could be. So they send you a bunch, and the big packet with 6 of the same fit into my cooler. And I just got to get 2 more for the actual transmission, and then 2 more for the radiator, and we should be have everything that we need. So let's see. I believe the fancy ones right here with like this little step area. See how they have the main part and then the little step area? There's 2 like that, and I think those are gonna be the OEM transmit radiator ones. And then everything else, the lines are already completely done. You just gotta put in your fittings and then route your hoses. Fleece there's no directions with this one, although it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. There are directions that come with this one in this kit, in the Fleece kit. Let's see, I have that one. And they just give you a QR code and you can check it out on the website. I'll link the directions below just in case anyone wants to watch the video and then read it as well. But most of this install is going to be getting the lines straight and all the fittings right. That's going to be the most difficult part of this install. The actual intercooler will be pretty easy, but we'll show it all. Okay, here we go. All right, there's going to be a bunch of these clips. If you got one of these tools, that could be helpful. If not, a couple of screwdrivers and a pick, get them out pretty quick. But this cover has to come off. All right, we are replacing that one right there. This cover and the grill has to come off. So for storage, we'll just set these back here. Total altogether, this shouldn't take too long. Probably no more than somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 hours start to finish. So let me get this off and then I'll have to drain the trans. All right, this is about as much disassembly as needed in the front. It's going to be highly recommended. There's the original cooler. I just put on a new radiator last year, so that is perfect and clean. This one, the AC condenser, is probably original, and then this will be new. So I'll have 2. Oh, take that back. The radiator's new. The transcooler will be new. The intercooler and the AC part will be used still, but I guess to at least get to the AC portion, these connections are right here, and you can access that from the front, it looks like, pretty easily. So to get this front grill off, there's 1, 2, 3 bolts up top. Most of them are these plastic screw-on tabs that just turn to the right or left. This one was an actual bolt. At the bottom you had 1 plastic tab one kind of a pop thing there. I just had to stick my finger down there and push it forward. That one right there. The side ones were a little bit difficult. I had to pull the headlight out to get both of those, but they pop in there with a clip, so they don't just pull out. Okay, so these are all 10 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I've already got that loosed. And then you're gonna need to pop down this cover and use a pick tool and pop out that kind of like the C clip to disconnect the lines from the cooler, so you can lift this out together as one unit. Right here, pick behind it. Whoops. There we go. There's one. Usually once you get one side, that's all. There you go. You only need to get one. And these we will not be reusing because everything else is going to be, and that should be able to break it free. But we're replacing everything on this for this video, so I'm not too concerned if I break stuff. So same thing for this side. Little pick right here. Now these will be the same clips that are on your radiator too, so but it will be much harder to get to than obviously having it nice and open right in the way. Top one won't be too bad. It's that bottom one will be a little challenging, but you get the idea. Disconnect the lines and pull this cooler off. If you are reusing your lines and just replacing the cooler, this is about the extent you'd have to go. Instead of doing the clips here, just twist this out of here, and these should go into the replacement cooler if you ordered a factory direct fit one. But so yeah, now I should be able to pull this out without that much trouble and get that one mounted. All right, it's getting a little dark, so we might finish this up tomorrow. But so you got to save your 4 original bolts. They're gonna hold the bracket for the XDP. You gotta save your clips. Like there's 2 little factory, I don't know the official term, but they pop off and they go on this bracket, so you can screw your bolts in it. And then the rest is just screw it all up so it's tight. And we're gonna get this on tonight before it gets dark, and then tomorrow we'll finish up the lines. But right now, as you can see, I've got most of the bolts in. I just wanted to give a mock-up, and then once everything's kind of hand snug, I'm gonna tighten up the main brackets right here. So these brackets right here need to be secure. Okay, but I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna call it a night and come back tomorrow. All right, so here we have it secure, and you know, it's on there real tight. It ain't going. That's very secure now. It's not going anywhere. Now, my only thing was this isn't quite level. It's like it should have been stepped, but I don't think there's any other way to do that. I think it's just gonna have a little bit of an angle to it because the top part's flat, unless there was any adjustment in here and I could move that down farther, but it's on there really tight. And that is an XDP trans cooler. And if this is all I was doing, I would just put the lines into this one and be done. So now I'm gonna get my fleece lines ready, and let's see if we can't get those out. All right, so with the air box out of the way, I have easy access to this one. However, the bottom one, what I'm gonna try to do is remove this bracket right here. So we got 1, and then 2, 3, and I think that's it. This is just a mount for this part, and for the air box itself, which we have this nice illusion purple HSP part. I really don't understand why people pick this color for the underhood of their truck, but whatever. I guess I didn't pay for it. I'm hoping just 1, 2, and 3, and then I can remove this whole thing and save myself the hassle of removing radiator parts. This one I can do right now. And this one goes, this top one, it shakes this one right here. So this one, we'll use the shortest hose, and we can hook those up. Okay, so we've got this one here, and I believe I lost a clip, but this air dam, if your truck's still stock enough, a lot of them are probably gonna be missing this. You're gonna have to cut a relief hole for this one to go straight up. All right, so I just pulled this out. It's just 3 plastic tabs. Let's see, right there. All right, so I might cut it a little bit further forward. It's still touching, but this is pretty thick plastic, so I can probably go another, you know, even a full inch, and it's not gonna hurt nothing. But we want this to stay in place because this directs air through the bumper slits right there and through the bumper, if anything catches from down there, to go up into the radiator and intercooler. And so we want the air, we want the airflow for sure, especially if we're towing heavy and working the truck. So I'm gonna try to keep this part, and I'm just gonna make it fit. And this is a free modification, just cut it. And I'm sure I could buy this if I really wanted a brand new one. If, let's say, I go back to stock lines, I could get another one at nearly nothing at the junkyards. Okay, so this top one is snug. It's not tight yet. I'm gonna wait till I get everything in place before I tighten them all. This bottom one's loose. It turns out you're not gonna be able to use a big, what did I use? I used this thing to loosen the top one because it was real easy once the airbox was out the way. Really, the only way that one's gonna be easy is if you have the radiator out. You could remove this with that, the pipe still is going to hit to right here. Probably easiest is just to remove this and then just use a socket. Try to get a big socket coming forward, get it loose. You can finish it out by hand before you put your new fitting in, and then you do the same thing. Use a socket on top until it's tight again. This thing I just went to, it was wrench tight. I didn't try to, I know it's aluminum and steel. Obviously aluminum is going to give out first, so I just got it snug. Hopefully don't leak, it feels secure, but I guess I'll find out very soon if it is leaking. But let me go get a socket that's going to be big enough for this. What I ended up doing to remove these, so here's the 2 that went to the cooler up front. They both have a rubber hose underneath. I just cut them and they came out real easy from there. So if you don't cut them, they're kind of a pain. You might have to remove more than what's shown in this video to get them out. At least that's what I found. Granted, this is my first time doing this. Maybe there's a secret that I don't know about. But I just cut them since I wasn't gonna reuse them again, and we're putting the fleece setup in. Okay, so I ended up damaging my other radiator thread so bad that I needed to go buy a new radiator. This is a Summit racing product, CR2510, and it comes like this. It comes like that, and it gives you a little baggie of an extra fitting right there. And so I took one of these extra ones and went to the hydraulic store, and they gave me a new fitting with the dash 10 on the end. So this is a 2-part right here. I'm gonna take that one out. I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna go get some more sealant for this one. But so that'll give me my dash 10 opening on both of them. Remember, when you do this, you only do one side. Now you could take out the whole thing, but since I don't have the big washer that this one has, we're gonna leave it like this, and it'll be great. So these are on there pretty tight. I had to use a 32 axle nut and a giant crescent to hold the bottom and do the top. And I'm doing this out of the truck before I put this in, just because space is much easier while here. Just make sure. This was about $350 at Summit Racing. off their website. So for whatever reason, if you do blow, you know, through up your threads with trying what they sent in the kit, it'll cost you some money if you mess it up. So I would pull, whatever you do, pull off your original fittings, go to a hydraulic fitting shop and get steel, nice steel fittings that will never need replaced. Okay, what had to happen essentially was I ended up stripping out the fittings on the other radiator. I had to buy another radiator. I took those, their fittings that came on this one from Summit was a little bit different, so I just pulled the original one out, took it to a hydraulic shop, and they got me this silver one that hooked right in, because the factory from Summit was a two-piece, this one plus this, and so since this one has that seal to keep that trans cooler in place, I just took the top one off and we used this. I have checked at the bottom that there is enough space for, even though it sticks out a little bit farther, there is enough space to screw the lower fitting on here, so that'll be no problem. All right, so I'm waiting on 2 fittings. I like this steel fitting idea. I wish the ones that came in the kit came with steel. They just seem more durable, and more likely I'll tear this up before I'll tear up the actual fitting, the steel one. So, and this is obviously easy to get off. Just throw it away, you put on a new one. This one's a little bit more difficult, you know, especially when you get in harder areas. As you can see right down there, for those 2, I have ordered 2 for those, and then once those 2, I'll put those on, and then I'll run the last 2 lines. This one's technically connected where it's gonna be. I gotta do this other one. I believe this one goes to the transmission. Is this bottom one that goes from here back to the transmission. All right, so we're getting this line through. All right, so because the lines aren't super bendable, we're gonna have to kind of thread the bottom one all the way to the back before we get this one snugged up in the front. So if I had put this one on first, it would just been on a tight bend to sneak it down through there. So let's look at what we're looking at underneath. Okay, so it comes forward. That's where the factory one came. So here's the factory one to the front that I cut. Just, you know, I just cut it straight. Now I gotta get these 2 factory ones out, and right now we've got them both just coming through there. I'll have a zip tie somewhere around here. This one is already pretty much in place where it's gonna be. As you can see, it goes up there. I got both lines undone, and we just gotta undo this clip, so the rest of these fall out. And honestly, they're not gonna re-go back in here, so you can kind of break this. It won't matter too much. There we go. I've got them both undone there, and that one might come out easiest first. Yep. All right. So that's the top one. All right. Now this one's, I haven't cut quite the same, so it might be a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna use this as a tie point, use some zip ties and get them secured to here, even if they don't fit actually in it like the old ones did. I'll just have a zip tie and zip them around, because some zip ties do come with the kit, and that's what we'll use. Okay, so I got these front 2 hoses snugged on there so I can put the front grill and stuff back on. Worked out well in my little cutout for the plastic. It's also going to act as a holder. With how thick these lines are, I highly doubt I'm going to be worried about the plastic putting a hole into this one. In the future though, if I get, next time I have the grill off, I could put a little bit of extra tape or something around this one right here. You know, alternative is also have it, you know, rest on top, but then I'd rather have it hit plastic than metal, so we're gonna leave it right there, and I think that'll be just fine for thousands and thousands of miles. So the trans cooler is done. It's secure, ain't going nowhere. The lines are good. We're gonna go put this other line. Here's my old ones. I'm realizing now, in the future, if I was gonna do this again, I'm realizing I'd probably just go with the the Merchant Auto kit, which just essentially just replaces these two things alone, and that's it. And the only reason I say that is because the routing of these under here is gonna take some real good securement work to make sure they don't touch anything that they're not supposed to, okay? In the front end, not a problem really, you know, oil pan and forward, not really a problem. It's right when it comes to about that starter area. See how you see it down there? Right about that starter area is where you really got to have things tied away so it doesn't touch the steering parts, the starter, the frame. It's got to be in the perfect location and zip tied, and you know, however you want to secure it. Whereas with the metal ones, you would never have to do that because they're, you know, fixed. Once they're in their fittings, they don't go anywhere no matter how big of a bump you hit or whatever. So that's actually one perk of the factory lines with the Merchant Auto type kit, where they just replaced the hoses. I liked these because I thought they'd be better with some flexibility and installation and removal. 100% better with this. These are kind of a pain to get in and out all in one piece, so I had to cut them to get them out. Actually, this one right here I got out in one piece, but this other one I did have to cut. With that said, you'll see, I'll try to film here once. I actually ordered steel fittings right for these, and I did the same for the transmission side, and so I can't finish the video today. I'm gonna get these kind of where they should be and then wait for the other two fittings to come. Now, I do have them, and I have I actually think it's these right here. And the only reason I don't want to use them is because I want the steel ones on the transmission side. I'd much rather tear up an AN fitting than the threading or anything on my, I don't know, for whatever reason in my head, I want steel ones on the hard parts, and then the throwaway parts, aka the hoses, you know, have the traditional AN fittings. But let's get this one in there. On the lower portion, the one with the 45 goes at the bottom, and it basically runs right over the other one. The coolant hose kind of follows the other one to the back. All right, so I push that up from the bottom, and now I'm going to pull that. And I routed it from the bottom because you can't really see from the top where's the best out of the way spot is, but I think I found it going up there. Oops. And to get a wrench on this in this location, you kind of do have to have air box, the radiator hose, intercooler. You need to have at least one out of the three out of the way, unless there's a tool that I'm not familiar with. But I had the whole air box out to do it, and definitely easiest for this, but it's going to make that bottom one definitely much easier too, just using a big crescent right there. Let me get this on. All right, so what happened was I had to undo this one because I didn't have the exact side wrench. I was using a crescent. Get this out of the way, and that gave me enough space to get this down and get it tight enough that I think they're both going to hold. I had to route this one kind of up, so it kind of goes straight up and then down, just because the heater lower coolant hose goes up, and because of this fitting being out here instead of maybe right here, I did have to get some clearance going upwards. With that said, I mean, I've got a solid 3/4 inch maybe now, and obviously this doesn't bend right here, so as long as this holds in time, you know, it doesn't get loose. I guess I'll have to come back and check that here, I don't know, after 5,000 miles or so, and see if this has moved at all. And if it has, I'll just put a piece of cut up hose and put it on top as like a barrier in between each two if they do touch. But so now you can see that all my stuff is going down, and it's just securing it underneath. And then actually right now I'm waiting for those last 2 fittings to come, and then I can secure everything. Okay, so we got it all done now. We've got the double zip tie that comes with the kit in the middle. That's just to kind of hold it where it is, a little bit off right there. And once you get it in position a little away from the oil pan, really your zip tie job, I put it in the factory spot. I just zip tied it to that bracket, and then I zip tied. I'm probably gonna do, I might have like 2 or 3 zip ties right here to even out the pressure a little bit, just so that it definitely doesn't go anywhere. And then I also did one up there on a coolant line so that it wouldn't be hitting the top of the, what is that? That is where the idler arm connects to. So if I didn't have that one there, it'd be right on top of that fitting, that greaser, and I mean, over time that'll probably rub a hole in it. So I'm gonna stick one more right there, and then maybe 1 or 2 more right here. And as you can see, here's my clearance right now. If this ends up moving or going somewhere else, I will have to put some wire loom over this. Just we're gonna see how well that holds. I'm actually expecting it not to hold that great, and I will need to wire loom it. That's my expectation, but we'll give it a shot without it and see how it goes.